So I want to tell you about a time not too long ago about a man named MacArthur Wheeler. Well, he robbed a bank. Now, as Unitarian Universalists, emphasizing the universalism, we understand this not as a case of MacArthur Wheeler being a fundamentally bad person, but as being a fundamentally good person who unwisely imagined his greatest good to lie in the direction of grand theft. But the thing you need to know about MacArthur Wheeler is that he threw himself fearlessly into bank robbing. He was fearless because he covered his face with lemon juice, which he believed would make his face invisible to the surveillance cameras. Lemon juice makes for invisible ink, right? So lemon juice on the face makes for an invisible face, right? Some years after this, in 1999, a social science paper with the following title was published: Unskilled and Unaware of It: How Difficulties in Recognizing One's Own Incompetence Leads to Inflated Self-Assessments. The authors were David Dunning and Justin Kruger, and they had been inspired by MacArthur Wheeler. A year later, they received the Ig Nobel Prize, Satiric Prize, in satirical recognition of discovering what is now well known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's when you don't know, but you think you do. Or your capacity to know is low for some reason or another, but you think it is high, and you like to tell other people that too. You know, one of the blessings of the Universalist faith is that the humility it calls us to helps preserve us from the Dunning-Kruger effect. When our focus is on being strong, being competent, not making mistakes, it is easy to start believing the lie. Not that we don't have moments of strength or competency or of being right. We have those moments, but those are not all the moments that we have. We also have moments of knocking over the milk with an elbow, accidentally tearing cloth or tearing a friendship, or forgetting what we were doing in the kitchen, or forgetting the hungry who are not at our table, or forgetting names. That happens too. When we anxiously try to fake others and ourselves out about how strong and competent we are, the Dunning-Kruger effect is just right around the corner. And before you know it, it is us with the lemon juice on our face, thinking that that is going to take care of the surveillance cameras. Universalism says, be self-compassionate instead. Acknowledge it. You are an imperfect being having an imperfect life. I am an imperfect being having an imperfect life. And of course, you are going to have moments of strength. But when you make a mistake, treat yourself with care and kindness and concern. And to the degree you can do that, to the degree we can admit flaws honestly and with kindness, we can stay connected with others, fellow sinners. We are all united in our common flawed humanity. And we can accept feedback and criticism easier. Of course, we hope that such feedback and criticism comes with kindness. We hope for that. But unless self-compassion is already in our hearts, even the kindest and most just criticism will pierce us, and probably we will want to bite back. Maybe we will want to blame the messenger and make them out to be the bad person. We will never heal the unwisdom that is all around us and in us if we cannot receive feedback with an open, humble heart. Self-compassion is good for you. Literally so. Dr. Kristen Neff, Associate Professor of Educational Psychology at the University of Texas, she says that resilience may be the most remarkable benefit of self-compassion. In one study, she and her colleagues worked with veterans returning from the wars in Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan. And the subjects worked with clinical psychologists who determined that nearly half of this group, 42%, experienced symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, using a 26-item self-report questionnaire that included statements like, "I'm tolerant of my own flaws and inadequacies." Dr. Neff and her colleagues rated subjects' levels of self-compassion. The study concluded that the more self-compassionate veterans were, the less severe their PTSD symptoms. Dr. Neff added that self-compassionate people also tend to ruminate less because they can break the cycle of negativity by accepting their own imperfections. Now, this does not mean you don't try harder. This does not mean you don't try harder. In fact, Universalism guarantees that you are going to absolutely try harder if you feel that something is truly important. Universalism also guarantees that if something is important, but you mistakenly think it's not, well, feedback is coming your way. And how you respond, it's up to you. Let's talk about feedback, letting someone know they have made a mistake. By no means do I believe in public denunciation, where basically a whole person with a complicated personal story makes a mistake, and that whole person becomes seen as nothing more than the mistake. And in fact, they are made into a symbol of an entire oppressive system. And therefore, the denunciator feels perfectly fine to go to social media, for example, and demonstrate their moral purity by destroying a person they probably don't even know. And if they do know, what's clear is that the denunciator doesn't care about them at all, and doesn't believe in apologies, doesn't believe in forgiveness, doesn't believe in reconciliation. Public denunciation is a kind of vigilante justice that has no room in our faith movement in Unitarian Universalism. Much better is how a self-compassionate person would reach out with compassion. There's a personal connection that undergirds the whole thing. She points a finger, and she knows she's got 3 fingers pointing right back at her, but she reaches out anyhow because it is an act of compassion. It is an act of compassion to help a person fall out of love with an image of the good that is way too small for them, that is unworthy of them. It is an act of compassion to reach out and say, hey, when you said that thing that African American children or Asian children all look alike, when you said that thing, that was most hurtful. You are better than that. Remember this good thing you once did? Remember this great thing you once said? You are better than what your hurtful words suggest. Reaching out can fall flat, though. When you are a person of color, or a woman, or differently abled, or a member of some other historically marginalized group, all your life you have lived that form of marginalization. You have all these stories. You have all this hurt and anger for all those times that your dignity as a human being has been denied. So reaching out with kindness can put you through the emotional ringer. But you reach out. You're trying to build a bridge. But maybe that person you're reaching out to, they break that bridge. They don't know what to do with the discomfort that you have created. They might even demonstrate the Dunning-Kruger effect in essentially telling you that you do not know what you are talking about. That they are the experts of your life, not you. Not you with all your stories, all your experience, not you, but them. Even though they have been schooled all their lives in ignorance of what your life is like. It is outrageous. But it might happen. Reaching out might not work. It plants a seed. At least it plants a seed. And maybe that seed will one day grow. Maybe not. But what is even worse than the riskiness inherent in reaching out is the ignorance that prevails if you do not. Is the hell that stays in the world. The hell that doesn't get loved out of this world. If you're going to reach out, let your motivation in reaching out be compassion for another person's good and for the good of the community. We need hell loved out of this world. And self-compassionate people extending compassion to others, that's the way. It's a way to serve.